Blazor is great. Blazor is really, really the exciting thing ever out there in terms of .NET development, because it is like Silverlight, but it is Silverlight because it's based on WebAssembly. But Blazor is more than WebAssembly because it's like an application UI framework model that can run on the server, on the client, on mobile, on it's Microsoft re-envisioning their UI stack based on HTML, or more or less not only HTML but also on the programming model stays the same, like components talking to each other as like buttons and all that kind of stuff, and the underlying render engine, if you want to call it. And I was playing around with Blazor a lot. I did a lot of blogging about that stuff, and recently I am working on a thing that's called. I have all kind of fancy names for my project. So if I want to check it out on Channel.io or on my normal GitHub page is Biohazard 999. There's all kind of demos and stuff I'm working on. It's like 103 project. It's a blah. So I fork a lot. It's all by bullshit I'm working on all the time. But this is the company stuff, and I'm working on Tasty. That's my new test runner. I will just quickly flow over it. It's like jest, and it's a more functional style, but it's really try to be more a library of not another thing you throw on stuff. But there are some stuff like Xenia framework, that's like XF extensions. I recently tried to put out in the open, so it is fairly new, but I'm working on this like 10 years. And there's the thing I call Donut, because I wanted to have a time tracking application, and it's 13, 20 hours or something like this. And Donut is a cool name because it's like a time tracking, because you have 24 hours in a day, and you have to do some stuff with it and do some calculations on it. It's not very, very far, but the thing is, um, Jose did his thing with XPO Web API. And I was really, really, really conscious. Can we make XPO Web API work with Blazor WebAssembly? So XPO is running in the browser. So there's no server involved, nothing. There's one project. It's like the Web API project. It's a server project. It does nothing more than like his standard thing, like with Web API controller thing. He did a lot of videos. We did. It is basically the same. It's nothing new. So it's a Web API controller from his controller base. You can look up the source. It's all on GitHub. It's basically everything the same. It's going to an API that's named Web API, XPO Web API. It has a public get and a public set, and blah, blah, blah. And I also did the authorize thing. And the demo doesn't, oh, I can't run that way. So sorry about that. If you followed ASP.NET Core and all that stuff, there's a project going on. It's called Project Thai. And Project Thai is like, I have to bump up my font size, I guess. And Project Thai is nothing more than like a command runner that's like reading your solution file and doing all the kind of Docker stuff and like of that. And I've over here identity server. It's like OpenID Connect server, like over it's like Microsoft, what's it called? Active Directory or Office 365 authenticating. So it's like, here is all my credentials. So it's a central source. So it's just running. And I'm just going to run. And it would launch 2 projects. It's basically the server project and the client project. And the client project is basically a totally normal Blazor. I have to stop that again real quick because I forgot to launch the dashboard. So I can click on stuff and don't have to type anything. And it's basically file new project Blazor WASM file. So it's running on localhost 6001, 7001 is the server. There's where the database would be sitting. And the identity server is just external. It's just something that runs because it's not in the same repository. It doesn't matter. And if I go over to the client file, it's like Blazor WebAssembly, and I will show it to you. It's really Blazor WebAssembly. I disable the cache and I refresh, and you can see it's pulling down sources and all that kind of stuff. And there should be a lot of DLLs going down there, if I am correct. There should be, at least over here. I'm not 100% sure. Oh, it is. Let's check again. Oh, I have to disable this. I was not prepared for this demo.
It's part of the demo effect.
I think so. So let's run it again.
That's the great power of XPO. We're gonna
but
be
it is
Blazor WebAssembly.
I can say for sure it is WebAssembly because there is no there is like the web host assembly builder and all that kind of stuff. There is a little bit going on, and there's this build thing, and it is in fact indeed using Blazor WebAssembly. It is targeting Net5 right at the moment,
Nice.
but it could work with 3.1. So let's try again if we can see some DLL files pulling down. Okay, but believe me or not, it's DLL files.
Nice.
Going down. And the thing is, okay, that seems really nice, and there we have the counter demo we all saw. But I can log in and I can log out. That's nothing really hardcore about this. This is the 5001. That's the whoop, that was the wrong one. That's the identity server taking control over the token management of all the kind of stuff. And then I have Alice, and they log in, and then he's talking to and now I'm logged in. And the neat thing is like, this is like fetch data. And you see the loading indicator over here. But the thing is, it's calling over to XPO Web API. Purely from Blazor WASM. So from the browser engine itself, calling over the API and getting data from Web API over there. It's like in some obscure but reasonable format. It's not an open standard or something like this. This is from Jose. So this is XPO Web API talking directly to the browser, and I can show it to you because if I have here in the pages folder and I go to the fetch data, I am using unit of work injected into a page, listing the customers. It's just a for eaching, there's nothing. And then I just do some refresh. Okay, there is some schema async going over there, and I'm fetching all the data async.
That's amazing, because
That's the power of XPO. That's the power of XPO.
Yeah,
And actually, then is saying that in 20.2 there is coming new iData store implementers. So
and
to
if
make
I
it
had
easier in WebAssembly.
generate, there's hundreds of new customers getting produced every time I press the button, and I can't stop press the button. And if, of course, if I had hit refresh, because it's in a XML data store, so it doesn't have an order, it just refreshes. But over the wire, it is pure XPO. The logic sits inside the browser. So this is all in WebAssembly. There is nothing on the server generating this. The only thing is this controller connects the database to the remote data store. And this thing is offline capable. It's not working offline yet. But I can go to offline, and then I go to refresh, and then an unhandled error occurs, of course. But this is working inside the browser.
Actually, Manuel, let me just interrupt you there. You know that what you need really in time is in life is time. So we've been working on an SQL provider for WebAssembly, so we can store the data on the browser.
Offline,
actually.
yes.
Offline. And then send it back. And I mean, we do have a synchronization framework for that. That is like one of the products that we have.
I was looking at the last stand up on this, so I know you're working on this. But this is amazing. It's running in XPO is running inside the browser. There are some caveats.
I have to say, one of the things that we say, XPO is cross-platform. Everywhere .NET runs, we're gonna make it run to XPO in a fridge, in a watch, anywhere. And again, I would say that Danny was saying that there is a new eData store implementation for 20.2 that it will make WebAssembly integration easier.
That's the database file I am running against. So because it's just in memory, not in memory. It's running on the server. It's communicating through this.
Nice.
But the thing is, it's really running inside the browser. It's not actually on a Blazor server, or it's running inside the browser.
Okay, guys, we have 10 more minutes for the question.
Okay,
We need to
so
stop.
I need to stop, but I hope that
I will have to say this is amazing. This is amazing. I love XPO Web API. I love XPO. XPO runs everywhere. So this is a great thing. But we have a lot of questions that I want to get to it. So sorry to interrupt you. Let's.
No problem. If you want to check out my progress on this, check out on Donut. It will be
I've been trying to convince Jose to start doing some tweets now and then. So I would definitely love to, you and I and Jose, do some tweets later on, go through all of these. This is a great